सर्वदुष्टाय स्वाहा ओम ह्रीं मंगलामुखे डोनाल्ड ट्रम्प सर्वशत्रूणां स्वाहा ओम ह्रीं मंगलामुखे डोनाल्ड ट्रम्प सर्वशत्रूणां स्वाहा ओम ह्रीं मंगलामुखे डोनाल्ड ट्रम्प सर्वशत्रूणां स्वाहा ओम भूर्भुवस्सुः नमो नमः long live Donald Trump long live Donald Trump long live Donald Trump next president America Donald Trump.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're all having a great and wonderful day. Well, what we have here is a lot of crazy news with the potential third assassination of Donald Trump, where he didn't actually get attacked per se, but apparently he was arrested before this would even happen. We have to go over this and a brief few other things as well, of what kind of going on here, and it's just leaving a lot of things up in the air and speculation of my head, like, what is really going on here? So without further ado, we'll get into it, because this is going to be a long one. So we have this here, from Times Magazine, which, again, these people can be taken with a grain of salt at times. Sometimes they're truthful, sometimes they're not. It's debatable. And it says, Iran, Trump, and the third assassination plot. It's a 4-15-minute read. We will not be going over all of this, but buckle in. ASF merchant was arrested on July 12th. He had just loaded his luggage into his ride to the airport, commencing a journey either to his wife and children in Iran or to a different wife and children in his native Pakistan. 8 weeks of secretly recorded conversations with a federal informant, Merchant had confided that he had families in both countries. He also, according to an FBI affidavit, said he had come to America to arrange the assassination of a political person. I think we all know who that person is. The identity of that person was not explicitly stated either by Merchant or by his handler in Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. According to a leaked document that was posted online by USN Charles Dresley in September 5th, after the Iowa Republican said it was provided to him by a whistleblower. But along with other evidence, the documents will be all but confirmed that Donald Trump was the person Merchant was authorized to offer up to a $1 million to kill. In the leaked document, Merchant described remotely scouting a Trump rally, then sending a written report on event security, how many guards, how many body scanners, back to Tehran, and secretly recorded meetings described by the FBI after his arrest. Merchant games out the assassination with the informant. The plan he details involved a crowd, a stage demonstration, intended to serve as a distraction, a target, and a podium, and security all around. Alerted to the Iranian plot well before Merchant's arrest, the Secret Service increased protection of Trump. Context that only amplified the agency's failure when an assassin's bullet grazed the former president at a campaign rally in Butler, Pennsylvania on July 13th. Which is funny because a lot of the times that they say that they increase security, it didn't look like they increased security very much during the second assassination attempt on Trump's life, and they didn't, and they were mostly focusing on Kamala Harris, which is all great and dandy if you want to give them equal protection. I think that all our presidents and people need equal protection, but the problem that we have here is that Trump was given less protection. So this is kind of contradictory to what they're saying here. I'm not quite sure what's going on in that regard, but here we go. Federal authorities say they have found no evidence that the slain shooter, Thomas Matthew Crooks, acted with the assistance of anyone else, let alone Iran. Nor has any evidence emerged connecting Iran to Ryan Wesley Ruth, who was apprehended after the attempted ambush of Trump earlier this month on a golf course in Florida. Though Ruth displayed sympathetic interest in Iran, in a self-published 2023 book about Ukraine, he mentions Iran dozens of times, and states that he repeatedly attempted to obtain a visa to join my Iranian friend in Iran and protect U.S. sanctions on his government. In a passage expressing regret for voting for Trump, Ruth addresses Tehran directly. You are free to assassinate Trump as well as for me for that error in judgment and the dismantling of the nuclear deal. No one here in the U.S. seems to have the balls to put natural selection to work or even unnatural selection. Which, guys, I remember, last video, you guys heard me say exactly this with the record of what he was saying in that note on that piece of paper. It didn't look like it was very well written, obviously, because he has horrible handwriting, as do I. But it's kind of crazy, really. It says the prosecutors made note of the passage in the September 23 court filing, in which they are also singled out a reference to Iran and a Dear World letter Ruth had left behind, explaining his reasons for trying to kill Trump. The handwritten letter above goes on to state in part, he, the former president, ended relations with Iran like a child, and now the Middle East has unraveled. As I've gone before with you guys already, that it was the Abraham Accords, which was signed by Donald Trump, which will try to make peace in the Middle East. That is the reality. But of course, this man here, which seems mentally unwell in every regard, which we're going to get to his son momentarily here, well, in a little bit at least, and that was taken over by the woke media, the far left media, the propagandist media, and they don't seem to reference the Abraham Accords at all, because why would they? They would not mention anything of the sort, because they want to make Trump bad type of deal. Merchant's arrest, by contrast, has drawn relatively little attention. Of the 3 assassination plots exposed as many months, it is the only one detected in advance and described in detail by a U.S. government already acutely aware of the threat. Iran's leaders have been vowing to kill Trump for years. Since they ordered the January 2020 death of Qasem Soleimani, the documents released after Merchant's arrest to tell a story of how serious that vow has proved to be. So, here's the problem that I have with this, right? In the first assassination attempt that actually happened on Donald Trump, you had pretty much an hour to 2 hours, give or take, 3 hours actually, where the Secret Service failed at every single regard at protecting Donald Trump's life. Part also the reason why he had less security personnel there than usual, for whatever reason, because, reasons. And then the same thing happened during the secondary Trump assassination attempt. Now, the third apparent assassination attempt was on Donald Trump, which was stopped by the FBI. It just so happens to be withdrawn. I'm not sure what is going on here. I'm just asking questions. What's going on? Why is the FBI fumbling the ball? How many attempts are going on? And how we're going to solve this? Because obviously we have more questions than answers here, and these questions need to be answered. It's kind of insane, really. It says. Keeps on going to know, by the way, to the U.S. Soleimani was an enemy, the chief of Iranian operations outside Iran, a performer that takes in Hamas, Hezbollah, Syria, and the Houthis by resending particularly lethal IEDs into Iraq. He was responsible for the deaths of hundreds of Americans, but inside Iran, Soleimani was the most popular figure in an unpopular regime, described as James Bond, Erwin Rommel, and Lady Gaga rolled into one. So yeah, that's what's going on here. Now, guys, I'm not quite sure what we have with this, but it goes on to say here, he allegedly instructed the informant to introduce him to assassins for hire. Anticipating that they would ask who they were expected to kill, Merchant had already put that question to his IRGC handler. Identified in the leaked document as Murhadad Yusuf when they spoke in a safe house in Iran in January, Merchant told the FBI that Yusuf has replied that Merchant should tell the hired guns that the target was Trump, then pause and rattle off a range of other possible targets. Joe Biden, or Nikki Haley, or politicians, military people, or bureaucrats. Merchant interpreted Yusuf's pause to mean Trump could be the target. The plans appear to point nowhere else. It was after the conversation with Yusuf that Merchant traveled to the U.S., researched the Trump campaign rally, then secreted his report, 30 guards, 4 to 5 scanners, and a package mailed to the handler. By the time he reached New York, the plan had grown elaborate. The FBI affidavit includes a photograph described as Merchant in the hotel room explaining the plan to the informant, referred to as a confidential source. Timestamp 7:34 p.m. on June 4th. The screen grab shows a slender, muscular man leaning intently, forward brow furrowed, and left shirt sleeve pulled above the elbow to reveal forearm tattoo. Merchant had began planning potential assassination scenarios on a napkin and quizzed the CS on how he would kill the target in various scenarios. The affidavit states, Merchant pointed to the target and repeatedly asked CS to explain how the target would die. Merchant told the CS that there would be a security around the person. So, I don't even know, man. He explains that the assassination would require distraction, a noisy demonstration, he says, arranged in advance. Merchant also wants, he specifies, a woman to do reconnaissance. And all that stuff, right? And it goes on to say here, merchant's attorney Aragon Moskowitz expressed incredulity. What proffer? Mr. Merchant is not cooperating, Moskowitz wrote, timed by email after the document was posted. 3 weeks later, the attorney emphasized that Merchant enjoys the presumption of innocence. My client looks forward to his day in court and to the due process that our Constitution guarantees him. The leaked document all but confirms the implication of the FBI affidavit filed when Merchant was arrested and finally unsealed on August 5th, that the logical target was Trump. I think that's the assumption, says Matthew Levitt, a former Treasury Department official who tracks Iran's assassination program at the Washington Institute for Near East Policy, adding, you don't put everything into an indictment. So, essentially what we have here is that there is the potential third assassination attempt, right? And that is what we're going off of here. The insanity of everything is that what is going on here, and there's a lot of questions that need to be answered. I don't know what else to tell people. And also, from what I'm gathering here, is that the FBI knew all these things happening in advance, and they did nothing. Which is going to be a huge issue, considering we're going to be like, okay, now, if the FBI knew about all of these assassination attempts, or all these people in question, right? Well, if that's the case, then why shouldn't we abolish the FBI or do something in regards to this organization? Because they're failing on every attempt. Like, we already had from what I'm reading here, 3 assassination attempts on Donald Trump. And we're only like, 46 days out after the presidency? I am worried that things are not going to get very much better here. I think it's just going to get worse. And of course, we have this here saying Pakistani national with ties to Iran charged in connection with foil plot to assassinate a politician or U.S. government official. Asif Merchant, also known as Asif Raza Merchant, was indicted yesterday with attempting to commit an act of terrorism transcending national boundaries and murder for hire as part of a scheme to assassinate a politician or U.S. government official on U.S. soil, which relates to Donald Trump here. We have more, don't worry. We have this from Andy No saying, breaking, update. Owen Ruth, the leftist son of the second Trump attempted assassin suspect, has been arrested in North Carolina on federal child grabber charges. Crime charges. And we have this here. NGO No Scoop. We have this saying, R.N. Alexander Ruth, the leftist of the son of the Ukraine foreign fighter recruiter, accused of almost assassinating Trump, says he, like his father, both hate Trump. I found photos of the son. So, yeah, it's, I don't know about you guys, man, but, like, what is going on here? Like, all of a sudden this is happening. He just found this, and of course this is from the Daily Mail saying son of alleged would-be assassin says his dad hates Trump, like all recent people. It's like stuff like that, and they found like child grabber stuff on his computer, and again, it says this here from ABC News, says Las Vegas government's computer had child grabber and disturbing search history, report shows. So it's related to this guy as well, because this is what happened to the Las Vegas guy, right? It's insane. It feels like this is all connected in some way, and I only have questions, and I keep on saying this over and over again. I have more questions than answers, and I think these questions need to be answered here. It's insane. And I don't know what is going on. This country is just really going downhill. It's just a very dark day right now in this country, and I think things need to be solved, and it's not looking too great. Write down your comments down below. Think what you guys think about this situation, what's going on, and as always, guys, like, subscribe, share. As always, take care, my friends.
I'm disgusted by what I see in public. Even people closest to us can't be trusted, 'cause it's algorithmic disease, the social media.